we're at a critical moment in the world where the Secretary General has called for a focus on foundational learning amongst many global commitments during the Transforming Education Summit. And we've also seen the presidentbio as co-chair of the high-level steering committee. The high-level steering committee calling on countries to move forward with the post-transforming education commitments, the vision statements from the UN. And one of those commitments that countries made was on foundational learning, led by the British government, by FCDO, by USAID, by World Bank, UNICEF, and several other partners. And Sierra Leone and President Bio, as a champion for foundational learning, have felt that post-test, we should not just go back to business as usual. And what was most important is that we can create a platform, a vehicle, where countries, ministers can come and discuss, technical experts can come and discuss, where foundations, private foundations and financing and global education bodies can come and discuss. So the foundational learning exchange, really, which is the first of such to exist in the world, where countries and academic partners and global education leaders are coming together to say, how do we focus on ensuring that all children are able to read and understand, are able to do compositional thinking, are also able to focus on socio-emotional skills. And it's a good platform for us to be able to meet and share, exchange and make commitments, or figure out how we can carry through with the commitments that we've already made.
What is so unique that due to the interest in what is happening, the reforms in Sierra Leone?
Well, education, as you know, is such a huge priority for the UK, particularly girls and marginalised children as well. So globally, I think we've helped now about 15.6 million children access more decent education, about 8.1 of those girls. But the message I've really sort of taken away from this event, and really exciting that it's Sierra Leone hosting the first formal dialogue on foundational learning, is if you don't get the building blocks right, then it's really, really hard for children to actually realise the benefits from education. So I think from a UK point of view, we already are very invested in secondary education, because that was the gap in the field, and working really closely with Sierra Leone. I'm pleased that through the funds that we have, through the actions that have been galvanised through the Coalition for Action on Foundational Learning, that we'll actually be able to keep up the momentum on this topic, make sure that donors are coordinating and advocating and communicating about it. But the part that I think I'm most excited about is, as you said, Minister, it's supporting countries learn from each other. You said the answers are within. So there's a lot that's happening in Sierra Leone that I think others will benefit from, and across the continent as well.
Minister, what do you think as Sierra Leone you can share with the ministers, not just who have attended here the exchange today, but also the continent itself?
I think one thing we can all agree on is that we have to learn from each other. Countries have to see what is working, what has not worked, so we don't repeat the same mistakes. In Sierra Leone, something that has really worked is on the policy side, evidence-based policy. So our integrated early childhood development program, which is linked to homegrown school feeding, so that kids in pre-primary and primary can come to school, can be able to access nutritious meals, not just attendance, but the cognitive infrastructure as well, because we know nutrition matters a lot. We've seen policies on radical inclusion, making sure that in addition to what His Excellency has brought for free quality school education, we can go to those who are most marginalized historically through law, by gender, and account for them in the classroom, that they come to school and they can stay there. We've also focused a lot on data, so we're having data inform our evidence, inform the evidence that drive the policies that we make, that drive the interventions that we make, that drive our programs. So our foundational learning program, where we are committing to zero learning poverty in Sierra Leone, is very much informed by the data that we collect, by the evidence and best practices that are there. And I think one thing in Sierra Leone that I'm really proud of is the way in which the partners are. So Sierra Leone has a multi-donor trust fund that the UK government and several of our partners are contributing to. And that multi-donor trust fund is supporting our education sector plan. It's supporting the compacts that the country is developing to promote foundational learning. And these ways of interacting with technical, with government, with policy partners are something that we can expand on across in Sierra Leone, but certainly across the world.
If you think this level of investment the government have committed towards the education sector, are we going to achieve the goal 4 by 2030?
I think the evidence shows that with the commitments, the benchmarks the countries themselves are doing, we may not achieve the SDG 4 targets. And that is scary because this is ambitious benchmarks that countries are setting. And so we need to do more. We need to expand, we need to accelerate, we need to transform, and that's why the need to transform education. We can always and should always spend more in education, as His Excellency President Julius Maada said. Education is an investment, and if we invest in education, we will reap the benefits for SDG 4. And I think we have 22% of the budget in education now. Any minister would want there to be more, and certainly we've passed the 20% budget minimum. Now we should move towards the 5%, 6% GDP to education, which will obviously raise the financing. But it's not just government contributions to education. Several of the